Let's look at some popular bathroom trends to look forward to in 2023, and maybe a few not so much, according to me. If you've already incorporated some of these elements, then congratulations for being ahead of the curve. And if you did stuff that I don't recommend, then who cares? You probably love them anyway. Who am I, right? I'm just James from the Paint People. I also want to give a mighty thumb of appreciation to our sponsor, Mighty Boards. They make our favorite tester boards ever because of how large and flexible they are. I remember years ago when I was just a rookie painter, I used to use Bristol board from the dollar store as an alternative to those small little pathetic tiny paint swatches you get at the paint store when I was testing out my colors. And I always would have a horrible, awful time with them because they were floppy and flimsy and they wouldn't stay upright. And they didn't even hold the paint properly. Mighty boards, on the other hand, are made with a material that is very resistant to bending. It's super easy to work with and handle, and ultimately you'll be left with extremely large samples of whatever paint colors you're thinking of using. Be sure to check out Mighty Boards at your local paint store, or you can check out the description down below if you want to learn more about them directly. Thank you so much for helping us out, Mighty Boards. Now let's talk about bathrooms. I love a good bathroom. The throne room. Whether we're talking about a powder room that you want to flaunt to your guests that are going to use it probably at some point, or your own personal primary bedroom where you get to relax at the end of a long week of making these videos. There's so many different things you can do in a bathroom. It's a personal space, obviously, but it's also a potential showpiece that can really add a lot to your home as a whole. The first design trend that we can see in 2023 is actually one that we've been seeing for the last couple of years, and that's warm metallic hardware and fixtures. It's been back for a little while now, and I can continue to see it being the case as we go into 2023. You know, for years and years, chrome, nickel, stainless steel dominated, and then we started seeing brass, gold, bronze, accompanied by matte black, of course. To me, warm metallic fixtures and handles and faucets and all that, they really have a timelessness to them. The one thing is, I do tend to gravitate towards the more bronze brassy look rather than the more yellowy gold look. I do find that the metallics that have maybe a little bit more of that kind of bronzy brown kind of look, it just feels a bit softer and kind of works with a lot more things. And I also feel like gold can be a bit glam for me, but that's just me. What's great is you can get a variety of different brushed looks or even an antique brass look, so you can kind of cater to your aesthetic a little bit more than just, you know, plain chrome or whatever. It also means it can give you the option to keep everything else pretty standard and neutral in terms of your cabinetry and your flooring and all that. And then you can have your hardware and your fixtures become the statement that pops. That way you don't have to worry about repainting and changing out your flooring. You just gotta change your fixtures. Terrazzo Tile is the next one. This has existed for a while, but it's really starting to become extremely popular. I see it everywhere nowadays. It's a unique alternative form of tile. What's great about it is it's very durable, it comes in a variety of colors and patterns, and you can pretty much guarantee that you'll have a one-of-a-kind look with it. One thing to be mindful of with Terrazzo Tile, especially on the floor, it doesn't do a great job at retaining heat, which means it might be cold on your toes. And personally, I don't know. I think it's cool, like I get it, but I don't really see myself using it because I always found it sort of looked like a cross between nougat and like epoxy flooring for your garage with those little floor chips all over it. There's nothing bad about it. I just can't get that image out of my head. And I love nougat too. So seamless glass showers is another really great trend that I think is going to continue. It's sort of best of both worlds because you have this open feel. It looks like there's no door at all, but at the same time, there is that bit of glass to keep the water in. It's a very clean aesthetic. You know, maybe you have one or two glass panels with no framework or anything, very little visible hardware. You can't really go wrong with it. And what's awesome is the tile, the shower head, that becomes the standout feature of your shower rather than the door sort of muddying things up, or even worse, a shower curtain. It's not perfect though, because it's very annoying to keep clean when you have all that glass and you're trying to create that invisible look, that not even there sort of aesthetic. You gotta really clean it. And it's also a bit trickier to install without the framework of a more traditional shower door. But to me, I think it's worth it. We gotta talk about freestanding bathtubs. I feel like They're everywhere these days. What used to be a luxury, now there's just so many options when it comes to freestanding tubs. And I think that's a good thing because I definitely enjoy a freestanding bathtub. You're free to put it anywhere, assuming the plumbing is cooperative, of course. I will say though, it is a bit more tedious to clean. Just the practical element of it. You got that whole outside of your tub to deal with now. It's not built in. It's not covered by tile or whatever. And it can be a bit harder to get in and out of compared to a built-in, especially if your built-in is a little more in the ground and sort of recessed. And although you might be tempted by that amber onyx tub you saw on Architectural Digest, I would be very careful about going to avant-garde with your tub because they are pricey, especially those more custom ones. And if you get sick of it after a year, God help you. Just maybe stick with white, just keep it classic. If you want to experiment with a bit of a fun shape or some interesting fixtures around it, then that's cool because those are a little easier to change in and out. Next, we have accent or bespoke vanities. And whether they're custom or they're colorful or they utilize really unique materials, your vanities are a really great place to have a lot of fun. And I'm seeing more and more people go a little crazy with their vanity, which is cool because like your hardware that we talked about earlier, you can have a pretty minimalist sort of setup in your bathroom, and then you can have this really show-stopping fun vanity as the showpiece of the whole bathroom. It's just kind of that perfect focal point, right? It's usually a little more central, can draw your eye really well. I'm also a big fan of natural materials being used more, especially woods, like beautiful warm wood vanities. It just adds that level of comfort and familiarity to a bathroom, which otherwise might feel medicinal and cold and not very personal. The only slight concern with wood, especially if it's just bare, a lot of moisture buildup in bathrooms, right? So just be mindful of if you're taking a ton of long steamy showers and you forget to sop up the floors after a big bath in your freestanding tub, then just watch the mold and mildew on your wood vanity. I guess you can go for a floating one, right? Another fun bathroom design trend to look forward to is plant life. Turning your bathroom into your own tropical oasis. Whenever you can implement real plant life in your space, I say go for it. What's great about plants is you really don't have to think about what shade of green they are and what undertones are in the leaves. Plant life always looks good. It's a great way to add color and life to a space. So specifically in bathrooms, of course you want to make sure the plants you're using are happy with shifts in temperature and moisture levels, because obviously bathrooms can do that. And also be mindful of the natural lighting that's in there or the lack of it. Another option is artificial plants. You can find some excellent quality ones that look really passable up close. I've been getting these ads on Facebook for this company where it's like, on sale, 60% off, $100 for this beautiful looking fake tree. And then I click on the website. Oh, actually the size that I wanted is $700. So not cute. Now the last couple are the bathroom trends that I'm going to address or maybe roast a bit from a website called Decorilla.com. Great website, awesome article. Just these choices, they're choices, not my choices. First one was the Earthy Hue example they gave, which sounds good in theory to me, but this photo just does not excite me a ton. They used very muted, sandy, kind of gray tiles that don't really do much for me, to be honest. And that kind of color, if the lighting isn't perfect in there, which it hardly is in bathrooms, it's probably just gonna look very blah. I do like that fun little window covering they used, and the wood is a good touch in the built-in shelving. And I also love that plant life, right? We just talked about that. So it's not all bad, but... And the other color thing that just kind of irked me a bit was the olive green example. I'm a big green lover, of course, but I can't really buy into a yellowy, somewhat sickly green in the bathroom. It might make you feel sick, right? I guess it at least coordinates with the gold accents, but it's just not my cup of tea. This one's very glam and vibrant, this bathroom, but that shade of green is just making me a bit nauseous. So I hate to say no to vibrant colors, but I just can't with that green. Next we have bathroom luxurious area rugs. That's like a bit of an oxymoron. Do we see the problem here? This big old rug next to a bathtub. Yeesh. Like, I'm not really the most coherent when it comes to post-bath, James. Like, I'm usually very lightheaded because it's all warm and steamy. I'm not going to be careful how I get out of a bath. I'm gonna be sopping wet, just dripping all over it, and it's gonna get moldy and gross. So, unless it's a really luxurious looking bathroom mat, then I can go with it because it's meant for that space. But looks good in a photo, but not in real life. Come on. And finally, open spout faucets. I just can't, okay? Maybe it's because I live in an area with really hard water, but it's gross how much gunk builds up in that spout. All that lime buildup and all the minerals, you have to keep maintaining it and cleaning it because it looks okay when the water's flowing through, but once it dries out and you just see all that stuff, it's just not gonna look good. Especially after a while, after years and years. Always seems like a good idea at first, you know, you just have this sort of built-in water feature in your bathroom. It's very spa-like and fun, but once you lived with it for a couple years, you'll get what I mean, okay? From the bathroom to the kitchen, here are some more trends to look forward to in the next year. See which ones you like and see which ones you don't.